Thank you for joining the bench, and remember, be nice to yourself. Welcome to Recap. How you doing, Horace?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. This is our inaugural show. I can say it. I can't spell it. For Recap. The idea for this show is that the primary idea here is that if there is an event that we went to in the previous weekend, in this weekend, or the whatever previous weekend or whatever, we're going to talk about it. We're going to recap it. In this case, we went to Okfest last week, and we're going to talk about our time in Okfest. Pickles, you might be. The chat room doesn't seem to be popping yet, but here's hoping. Um, that's okay. That's okay. Um, if there isn't, I'm kind of debating. I'm kind of debating which way to go. If we didn't do a show and I would just be going solo, I might just not do it. Or and just kind of keep recap for whenever we're coming off of an event. And if that's the case, then that's the case. If there seems to be a desire to do recap every Sunday, then that's what we're gonna do. At this point, doesn't seem like there is, but that's all right. I'm gonna throw it over to chat. So Pickles, who is our at least our sole participant right now, can join in and chat about it. But let's talk about Okfest. How was your Okfest? Horace, not Pickles, or Pickles too.
Oh, okay. Well, mine was great. This was actually my favorite event that I've ever been to my entire career.
Wild.
Um, I I had a lot of feelings about the event. It was very, very fun.
Let's talk about it.
It was the first time that I ever knighted a squire.
Oh.
I made new garb for it for the first time since I got knighted. And yeah, I got to camp. This is also the first time I've camped at an event since War Code.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think that those things like? Do you think that those things are what made the event the best event for you, or would it have still been the best event outside of those things?
I don't know that I could possibly quantify it that way, but I
That's
think
fair.
that staying on the event site the whole time so that I was always at the event and I was never like getting out of it. And
Yeah.
then because I did so much stuff to like make things for and experiences for other people,
Yeah.
like I realized that I put so much work in
Mm-hmm.
that the catharsis of being done and getting all that work done for it was huge.
That makes a
So
lot of sense.
having like put a lot of time into making not only a thing for Colin, but then like also going to other people's things and like
Yeah.
seeing other people's uh going to ghosts what is that called? It's not an ascendance.
Uh,
Um
is that
the horde one
Yeah.
where you get promoted from feral to a full member. That was really cool. I'd never been to
That
one
was
of
super
those.
cool. Yeah. Oh,
Um,
I forgot what
yeah,
it's called
going to
too.
those. The night fighting also, like that would have been good no matter what because I haven't been on a ditch field like that,
Mm-hmm.
like a night fighting one in a long time. I think actually the last time I was at a good one was like Rag and like no, it wasn't
Yeah, it
Headhunter.
wasn't
It's
Headhunter.
just like a normal member, not
Yeah.
a knighting one.
Because you go from feral to just member, I guess.
Honestly, it's kind of cooler than a Headhunter one.
Yeah.
Not to like shame Headhunters, is just actually the coolest induction ceremony I've seen for anything. It was very, very cool. It gave me a lot of ideas on
Oh yeah.
stuff that we should like do.
Mm-hmm.
Um Also the um Pharaoh, I love you. You're kind of like won't stop getting your head in the way. Oh now she's fine. But the March of Evil was really cool too.
Yeah, that was
I
super
didn't feel
cool.
like I mean, I just like wore a disguise. Um, and that was fun. But it made me want to do like a March of Good.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So there might be something to that next year.
You have to do it right because I
Hmm?
feel like if you do it wrong, it's it could. I'm just like I'm thinking in my head out loud that like if you do a March of Good, you don't want it to come across as like some weird kind of white pride thing or something. You know, like it could go in a. It could
I
have a
was just
weird.
saying
You know,
today we were coming up with like a thing, right? And you read Wheel of Time.
I have.
Okay, so in Wheel of Time there's like the white cloaks, and I was
Yes.
thinking about it and I was like, oh wow, I just like it, like I cannot believe that just now I made the connection that the white cloaks are like the
Yep.
KKK. That's why they call them white cloaks instead of Children of the Light.
Yep.
But I don't know, I would call it almost like the March of Light or
Mm-hmm.
instead of the
That
but
makes
it
sense.
good kind of is too greater goody.
Yeah.
Like
You could do like the March of Knights
be interesting.
because that plays into Horde because they have that like anti-knight, you know,
Totally.
how they were formed or culture or something like that, you know.
I was thinking you could also call it like the Alliance March because Horde is literally like the bad guys to Alliance in Warcraft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was
Also
thinking I was like,
the last Alliance
yeah.
too from Lord of the Rings, like
My initial thought was
or
like that's too
Tickle's anti-evil alliance.
my
But
first
yeah,
thought
I
was
mean
like
just
that's way
like
too World of Warcraft, but that's the
it kind
Horde.
of fit.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, I would have been gone Wednesday night, but my ex-wife said that she wanted to meet to grab some stuff. Um she bailed on me like 30 minutes before. I was like,
Of
okay.
course. Of course.
I see how it is.
That's how
But what are you
ex-wives
gonna
be,
do?
man.
It could have been a work thing too,
Yeah.
whatever.
How was Thursday? Because I was there.
Thursday was good.
I was only there Saturday, which you know, but
Yeah.
like for everybody else, I was only there Saturday. So like,
I mean, the ditching Thursday night was good. On Thursday fighting, I got to fight for all day,
oh my god,
which was fantastic,
hell yeah,
you know, because I don't get to fight him a ton anymore. So I got to fight him a bunch single, a bunch two sword. Um, and that was also really weird because like I haven't gotten my left hand beaten that bad in a while. Like I think I won like 2 out of 10 fights.
yeah,
But then like when I was fighting right-handed versus his left, I also beat his left into the dirt like
wild,
just as hard,
hell
which
yeah.
was also surreal. I was like, okay, why am I losing so much left-handed and why am I winning so much right-handed? Like, this is very weird.
Yeah.
Um, so that was cool. And then two sword is always fun.
hmm
Um, but yeah.
Pickles. When do you show up? Do you show up? What day do you show up? He'll tell us. He'll tell us eventually. He'll get there. Um, and then Friday. How was your Friday?
Friday was good. I think I'm really glad that I was getting Colin knighted because it kept me from fighting all day Friday. And I would have just murdered myself the same way I
Yeah.
did last Oktoberfest, fighting all day, 3 days in a row. Um, so I didn't fight basically all day. I ran Colin's trial, excuse me. Also, that was more taxing physically for me than I thought it would be because it was just like out in the sun the whole time. Like it was very warm compared to Oktoberfest normal.
What's up,
Um,
Razorback? Good
hey
to see you.
Razorback.
It was. It
Yeah,
was. It was super warm on Saturday.
yeah.
I was not expecting it. I was expecting it to be chilly, and I was like, I had cold weather clothes packed.
Barb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was gonna wear it all day. And I went with an Amtgarder Kenshin, who had
Yeah,
never
yeah.
been. He hadn't been to a Belgarth event in years and years, not since Ball and Wall days. So like,
Oh
he
wow, it's so different.
yep his expectations for the event were really low, and he was kind of just going along because I've been talking it up so much,
Yeah.
and he went. He's just like, this was like some of the this was an amazing event. What's up, Misty? Uh,
What up?
so you ran the trial on Friday.
Yeah.
Would you say from an overall perspective that there was any difference Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Was it all kind of Just the same
No,
event for
it
the
was
most
all
part.
great.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, fighting was good. I mean, I, yeah, it was good. Like overall, just great. Night fighting was great Friday too. I didn't actually night fight that much on
Yeah.
Friday. I fought some, but
And I feel like compared to Geddon, we were allowed to go later than we did at Geddon. Didn't they end at 11 or something
what?
on at
I
Geddon, or
have no
maybe
idea. I
Warren?
didn't night fight at Geddon.
Oh,
I only went on Saturday this year.
that's
I'll
right.
probably at least go Friday, Saturday next year. Um, Depends on when it is. What's going on with work and stuff. Also, I'm gonna like as much as I want to like go to Geddon all week, I want to try to go to some other events,
Mm-hmm.
and that means I got to take vacation for
Yeah.
longer. So if I can just take one day off and still go to a bunch of Geddon, like that would be great. Also, if I don't have a nighting or anything, I could conceivably like still work all day Thursday,
Yeah.
take only Friday off, and then go to Thursday night fighting, and then basically get the whole event.
Yeah.
So that would be cool.
There was a few Amp Guard events where I basically worked, and I even one time like worked. I did that a bunch actually. I worked when I was at the event. Like I'd be on my computer in the hotel
Yeah,
room,
yeah.
and
That would not work for me.
it was I'd like set up my work week so that it was like I done everything I needed to do.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah. My computer program that I work on needs like a ton of bandwidth,
oh
so
shit,
the
yeah.
internet out there would not, I would basically not be able to function.
Pickles Razorback, they're very tall. They're an amp guarder that has checked out, Geddon for the first, or not Geddon, Okfest for the first time, and it was pretty. That's I'm seeing that more and more and more, that longtime amp guard players are like, and I think some of it might be my fault because I talk about Belgarth all the time, but they're starting to show up and check out Geddon and Okfest, and they're like, this is really cool, you know.
Yeah, it's been really cool having a lot of amp guarders come over. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that a lot of people, like there's been a lot more cross gaming period, like even without being big into events for the past couple of years, like I've just noticed like way more amp card influence. Right. Um, and before, people would be like, oh yeah, it's those Amir doing it, and like I've been to one amp card event for real ever. So like I don't know. It's very interesting that people would like feel that way,
Oh,
especially because it's not like I was like trying to get people to take light. Like now I'm still like, no, like make it hit you harder. Like I don't think that was good. So um, yeah, very
Bro,
interesting.
appreciate the subscribe with Prime. Thank you, thank you, thank you very
Yeah.
much. Appreciate it. Um, so my Saturday I showed up. So I initially was gonna go with my ex, and we broke up. So then I was like, I guess I'm going alone. And my friend Kenshin, like I said, he had we had connected at a wedding the week before,
Yeah.
and he said
In 2 weeks in a row, geez.
2 weeks in a row, man. And yeah, there's a lot of weddings. And he's like I kind of want to go, and I'm like, let's go. And
Yeah.
and then I he was gonna go separately, and I told him, I said, hey, so now it's just me, and now I have a hotel room, and it's just me. There's one bed, so if you don't mind throwing out a air mattress, I got you
Yeah.
covered. And so he's like, hell yeah. So we rolled in, and we got there. I want to say we got there at 1 o'clock, and we did the field fights. I showed up right in time for the Evil March of Evil.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was super fun. I fought with you guys. I fought with Amir, and that was a blast. And
Did you
then
fit in good with the Amir?
duet.
Did you fit in good with the Amir?
I feel like I do.
Oh no, no, no. Did you fight with the people on the
Oh,
Amir who are on the good side, or the people with the Amir who are on the evil side?
on the evil side.
Okay, okay. Nice.
And I mean, I'm a troll. I have to fight on the evil side.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I'm a head troll.
Absolutely.
And so that was a good time. And then what do we do? And then we hung out for a while. What I fucking loved, and I'm glad that Misty's here, because we were having a conversation. There was like a circle of us for whatever reason, and we were having a conversation, and I was like, Misty and Cord were saying like, dude, all these people are coming up to us and saying, oh, you're from the bench. And like you and I have talked about that happening to us, but like the bench has really been successful, so like we expected that. It's so fucking cool to have our guest hosts have it happen to them too, because as you know, but people out there don't know, like the whole thing that one of the reasons that I love doing this is that I want to give people a chance to tell their story. And so the fact that they're getting recognized is like, I love that more. I don't need it. I'm fine. I love the fact that they're getting recognized. Like, that's so cool to me, Anyway, I showed up, did those field battles. I think we just kind of like fucked around for a good chunk of time, but that was fun too. I got to catch up with everybody. We did some spars and stuff, and then night fighting was so good. So good.
Perfect.
And I have not told this story to anyone since Saturday because I've been saving it. But
good.
So Jake Henshin, he goes and he buys this rapier, right? It's a stab only.
Oh, I remember it.
35.
You stabbed me with it.
And so and it's a 35-inch, right? It's basically the size of a single blue, but it's stab only. And so he was saying that like he's like, yeah, I got a kill or two, but it's really hard, because there's a lot of reds and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm gonna do some shit with this. It's gonna happen. So,
yeah.
And you remember this? I guess did I ever tell you how many kills I got with it?
No.
I got 37 stabs, 37 kills.
That's amazing.
37. And
I should count how many people I kill one day. I never think to do that.
It was shocking. It was shocking how many it was. I'm like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Croesus had a bunch of new fighters experience Okfest for the first time this year.
Oh yeah.
Now we have 10 people rides for war. They got the bug.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Grow this game. Grow it, grow it, grow it. Misty says Ark was introducing me to Dane, and Ark asked for my updated game name, and Dane was just like, it's Miss D, do you not watch The Bench?
That's amazing.
Oh yeah. So good. So good.
I love Dane. So good.
And then it felt like, and I was saying this because every time I got a kill, I'd go over to Kenshin and Ferrix. They were sitting there chatting off the side, and I'd go up to him and be like, 35, 36, 37. I was counting them out. And
like big Gimli vibes over here.
It was. I was like, we're just gonna run with this. And
it's so much fun.
And it felt like I was playing a rogue because it's a stab only in my left hand.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do with that? And like if I got a kill with my right, that doesn't count. It's got to be a stab. And so I'm like creeping around, and I'm just looking for people that don't have spears and pole arms. And that's why I went after you a bunch, because I'm like, I could, but like I just
only got me once with it.
I got you a couple times, not many.
Oh, I believe
there was.
I just only remember the one time,
because the one time was really good.
The one time was really good. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Plague, fucking asshole. Plague was like following me around the ditch field with this spear, because I can't block with this thing. This thing was so light, there was no blocking with it. So Plague was like chasing me around, getting free kills on me. I'm like, fucking leave me alone.
Plague is so good, and they will just always follow the most dangerous person on the other team and make sure to stab them.
Yep.
It's very frustrating.
It is. But that's good. That's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I was really impressed because they went out there with their 8-foot spear.
mhm.
No, it has to be 6 feet. Then Plague just found a 6-foot spear and was like, okay, like
Here we go.
I will fight with the 6-foot spear. It makes no difference. Like this is great.
Yep.
So
I
Plague's from Newman.
hell yeah.
I have a lot of experience stabbed by
My
Plague,
plague. Getting
unfortunately.
a plague stab.
Uh,
And they don't stab hard, like it doesn't suck. You know, it's not like a brutal experience. It's not like a Batman stab or anything.
oh yeah, I guess.
I
Comparatively.
mean it's a
I
spear,
was
so
like,
it's a
still
spear. It
sucks.
still
What are you
sucks.
talking
But
about?
it's not like Batman where it's like, oh, my world's ending. It's not like you're not doing the do I need to go to the hospital question every time you get hit by it.
Yeah. You say that, Crow, but that was actually my favorite part of the ditch field was every single person seeing me fighting two stick and being like, "Oh, I'm gonna stab him," and I'm like, everything that you do, like you just like person after person after person walks up with their sword and board, and their whole being, no matter what they're doing, is like, "I'm gonna stab him," and then they come to stab me and it'd just be like,
You were you
over
were
and over again.
you were obliterating people on that ditch. It was really fun to
Fun.
watch you work because there were times that you just went on a tear and it's like I'm just watching you like carving people up. It was so good, so
It's
good.
really fun.
Hell
I
yeah,
really like fighting two swords. I really like fighting red too.
yeah,
It feels kind of like I would fight red because I just couldn't really more.
yeah,
And there's lots of reds. Uh, and it doesn't. It feels almost like cheesy to win with the red, even though it's objectively probably not actually fighting two sword and board. Um, but like the range is just such a big advantage
yeah,
to people.
yeah. Crow says they love fighting Plague. The last 2 years they've gotten so good. And Plague doesn't look like somebody who's good. Plague looks
Yeah.
like some innocent kid, and then just like I'm new. What do I do? I'm so nervous, and then we'll just stab the dog piss out of you.
Oh yeah. At one point, Feanor was heralding, right? And Horus, like switch teams and pick somebody from your team. And I turned and I'm like, Plague, let's go.
Done.
We switched the other side because we had just like stomped the other side. We switched the other side, stomped them like really hard. And then we fight again. We stomp them really hard. We fight again and we stomp them really hard. Then Feanor is like, Horus, pick somebody and switch back. And I was like, Plague. We switch to the other side. We stomp them really hard. And after the fight, I just look at Feanor and I'm like with this big grin on my face. And Feanor straight up does like the meme, like hands on the hips, looks at me and then turns away. Just dying.
I was
It's so
nervous
good.
about the fact that there were heralds
Yeah.
because at Geddon there was a herald, and this
Yeah.
is no shade. Like I'm not throwing shade at
Yeah.
volunteers, but I felt like at Geddon it detracted. Um,
Feanor did such a good.
hell yeah,
I don't know. That was like the perfect amount of heralding. It's like somebody is making sure that you actually have nobody's coming to the ditch with a 7-foot or 8-foot red
yeah,
and fighting despite other people telling them not to.
yep,
And then, just talking to people who are obviously like drank a little bit too much and just
yep,
not taking anything. Um, like that's what you need
yeah,
somebody to night fighting field. You don't need them to go around and like
yeah.
actively be trying to call people out and stuff like that.
Especially the edges. They handled the edges perfectly. They were soft
Yeah, yeah.
edges. They just kind of
I
be like,
just
"Hey guys." And I
yeah.
think at Geddon he was calling hard edges and basically calling people dead if they strayed over it. And it's
Yeah,
like,
that's not
no,
fun.
that's not night fighting, man.
This is not a normal
Yeah,
heralded day battle.
that was. I would say the people drinking on the field was my one disappointment for the event. I was very disappointed that
On the field or just on the ditch
on the
field?
on the ditch field. Not that people were
Oh, okay.
drinking on the ditch field. That's fine. It
Yeah.
was there was two guys that were very intoxicated and should not have been on the
Oh, yeah,
field.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I was like, I feel like people being um like drinking a little bit and then going and fighting is pretty normal for a
Yeah,
nighttime ditch. But
that's
like
that's fine.
definitely
That's great.
people who are like drunk should not
Yeah,
be
should not.
ditching. Yeah.
And I was, you know, I was I was a little disappointed at the amount of time it took to get them off the field.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like that should have been right away, because I was very
Yeah.
active in pointing out, like, hey, he's hammered. Get him the fuck out of here. This is a
Yeah.
safety issue. And it was kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, we'll keep an eye on it. It's like, no, man, he's got to
Yeah.
go.
No.
You know,
If you're really drunk, you shouldn't be fighting.
yeah, because it's just dangerous, but
I don't even drink a little bit because my like care for other people's safety goes out the window. Like 2 drinks in, like I'm not doing that.
Glenn says having heralds for a ditch seems like overkill. The reason I think it was good, and Horace, you said this, but the reason I think it was good is because um, there were specific rules for the ditch, and I think that's important for Belgarth because Belgarth doesn't have that same ditching culture norms yet that Amtgard has had for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Of like so like there was a length restriction. What was it?
Yes.
6 feet, I think.
6 feet. That's correct.
And I think if you had a red, it had to be under 6 feet. It had to be like 5 feet or something. I don't remember. That might have just been getting, but people were not. Yeah.
Not switching teams. Yeah.
What's up, Bjorn?
And like, I like Feanor's amount of heralding. That was the amount of
perfect,
heralding
yeah.
that I want. Like that, if there's anything that you could say negative at all, it would just be like if somebody's drunk, kick them out a little bit.
That's the one thing.
That's it.
But like
that's what I want to see. They're just making sure it all runs smoothly, and they're not actually like actively going around and trying to call anything.
Yep.
Letting it flow, but they're just making sure that it's running.
Yep. Agreed. The no polls restriction, that's what made it work, because if people would have brought out like 8 or 9 footers, it would have killed it instantly.
Yeah, and there's just been everybody stabbing each other's ears. I think that's why the ditching is such a big hit too, is because like the amount of people that actually like are really want to fight like that on a Belgarth field is about the amount of people that go to ditch. And like in field battles in Belgarth, that's become like the thing. Is there's tons of spears, there's tons of archers, and so it has crowded out, sword and board to some extent. A lot of people, those people just spar for a lot of the time if they're very serious about sword fighting. And I think that's okay. I'm not really upset about it. Like there's other events that are big on the field fighting, like Wolfpack or War, and War is a little bit different because there's so much more space. You can always still like function. I fight 2-sword at War. Like it's a field fighting event. I fight 2-sword the whole time, and I do very well. So, yeah, no projectiles, no like long spears. Like that was like the thing. Like Plague is a dedicated spear fighter, and they went and got a 6-foot spear to fight in the 6-foot battle. Like that's perfect. And 6 feet is such like your range is not that much shorter than it, not stopping you from fighting.
I'm wondering what do you think about a 5-foot restriction?
I think 6 is fine.
Okay.
I don't think
I'm not saying it has to be shorter. I'm just wondering. There was a point where it felt like the Reds were just dominating.
I felt like when that happened though, a lot of the Reds were just fighting each other.
Yeah.
So like that didn't really bother me because like people weren't like trying to get matches where they like when I would pick up a Red specifically when everybody's reading, so I could go noble samurai duel every other 6-foot Red. Like let's fucking go.
I also liked how it a 3-foot restriction.
3-foot restriction.
Single sword blue.
I was on. Yeah, I mean, no shade to the people that were doing it, but that was the thing that to me was like if you had the almost just under 4-foot blue, like that's the king of that ditch. Like you actually have the longest range out of everyone. You can reach longer than the Reds, like really, because you could do it safely.
Glass was murdering with that max blue.
Oh yeah,
murdering.
Glass is gross with that.
And like
everything.
I I knew if I picked up a board and my sword, I was like, I could, at least deal with glass. But I was using that stupid rapier, so I was like, he's just
Okay.
gonna fuck me up. I can't fight him
Yeah.
with this thing because I can't block with it, other
Oh
than a
yeah.
punch block. It's so light that any hit will just send it flying away.
It was so good because Glass would just stand next to me and like threaten to stab people, and then as soon as their shield would move over, I'd just smack them on the shoulder
Yep.
with my red. And it was like it was so gross for us to fight together. Um,
It kind of reminds Glenn. It kind of reminds me when you were using that weird sword at SKBC a couple years ago. Glenn had essentially like a max blue, and I think he was calling it a shotgun or something. So I don't remember. It was a rifle or something. So like every time he threw a shot, he'd go bang, and it was
yeah,
like a max blue. So it was like it was basically the same thing. It was a good time. It was a good
yeah,
time.
downsticking.
The
Codites, like also, I think you probably got to experience Codites downstick.
Yes,
Codite is gross with the downstick. Like it's absolutely crazy.
he's
And
so hard
I
to fight
I
with it.
also like to me that is I don't like when people downstick with big shields because what they do is they start hitting the base of the shield.
Hmm.
But Kodite's downstick is way longer than
Yeah.
Kodite's shield. So like it really doesn't bother me to like fight that because like you're actually getting hit by the sword.
Yep.
I don't like getting shield punched in.
Yeah.
That's like my
That
least favorite.
sucks. Gorn Husker says the bell culture thing about using a sword in your shield hand is really funny and got me more than once in the ditch. You know who else is really good with that? Um, Bar Tyler.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got he does
absolutely.
he does the same thing that Frith does, where it's like comes up with his shield back and like hits like this or hits like an outside in with
Yep.
it, and it just like there's ways to deal with it, but it feels, especially with Tyler, it feels like you're fighting against somebody fighting Florentine, but he has a shield too,
Yeah.
you know.
That's exactly the threat of it is that
Hmm.
any time that you do anything, you can downstick them,
Yeah.
and you do get like the extra side threat of the downstick, and like it's. I think that for a lot of people it starts to feel kind of cheesy, but like really, if you open yourself that up that much with the shield to swing, like it's
Yeah.
really not hard to just like hand block you and
Yes.
hit you at the same time because you don't have the kind of control with the sword in your hand with the shield that
Hmm.
you would if you just had a sword to where you can like get past that. Like it's actually
100%.
really easy once you get it down to like kill them when they do
Yeah.
it. But you have to like it's another thing to think about because if they're really good at like doing it at the right time, it'll catch you by surprise
Hmm.
or they'll just get you with it. You have to be really good at timing it.
That's
Yeah, I
exactly.
love
It's
bar.
it's really good, especially on a ditch line, because one on one, that's like that downstick is going to be a problem, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna tease you apart and capitalize on it, and it's going to
Yep.
be why you die. But
Yeah.
on a line, you can just throw cannons, from the safety of the line, and as somebody starts to rush that line, then you can fight backwards and do shit.
Yep.
So I think
Real
it's
good.
one of those like, one of those equipment differences between a one-on-one fight and a ditch line fight.
It also gives you like a dumb range with the
Yeah.
stab
Oh
too, if
yeah.
you're really good at doing the stab. And it's like right in the area where you can just like pocket stab them. Sick.
I love using a downstick in a ditch. Love it. I love it. Love it. It's so
I
fun.
I actually don't like downstick. Like your wrist. I don't want that on my wrist.
There. That's fair.
Feels weird.
Oh,
I
like
don't
an
like it.
under shield. I just like using a
Yeah.
downstick and a sword on a ditch line.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
There. Well, it's like I got short
I mean,
arms.
you do whatever you want, but
I got
I
short arms.
yeah.
So like a lot of times, if I'm not running the edges and I'm
Okay.
using a 3 foot, I'm just sitting there for a good chunk of it, waiting for an opportunity. Because if I start pressing, then if I basically either have to go or I'm not doing anything. I can't
Yeah.
snipe because my arms are just not long
When
enough.
you use a downstick, do you use like a 55, like basically a red downstick, or do you use like a normal sword?
It depends. Like
Okay.
ideally, I have a stick when I'm standing. It and I'm standing. Am I holding it? It goes about maybe to eye level. That's like the ideal down stick for me. Um,
Yeah.
because I get a lot of length on that stab. And that's specifically for
Yeah,
fighting on a ditch line. I don't have one of those, so
yeah.
I end up using my min red a lot of times for a down stick. That
Yeah,
that one that has like all the pommel weight. I use that a lot.
that seems like it would be really good. Actually, it feels like it would be better on your wrist to downstick, but
Yeah.
like I actually think that tip being a little heavier is probably easier to actually stab with
Yes, it can
because
be. Yeah.
yeah, like it's just easier to be accurate while stabbing.
And the sword blade actually does cause a lot of problems. I have so much
Yeah,
more mileage out of just a green, like just a green downstick, because whatever it's, I for whatever reason, and I haven't done the math on this yet, it just seems to perform so much better in terms of stabbing.
totally makes sense.
It really
Just
does.
like from a um like dynamics of handheld impact weapon sort of like sense, like it's gonna just be smoother because it's not gonna be too hip heavy to where like it's almost like you're downsticking with an axe.
Yeah.
I have in fact done the fun stupid downstick of a 6 foot red. That's generally how I do that.
Hell yeah.
Um and yeah, I only ever stab with it, and every time I do it, I'm like, I should just get a 6 foot spear and downstick with it. Like that's actually what I want,
should
the
we
down spear.
should we maybe I should now I because I'm going to Winter War. I
Oh,
kind of want to bring a downstick, a purpose-built downstick.
I think Gorg sells the 6 foot spears. I actually just bought another 8 foot spear because I one hand fight with that
Oh yeah.
at every event actually. I only haven't been doing it for the past year because somebody stole my spear last year at Oktoberfest. And this year somebody stole my 7 foot red. So whoever keeps doing that, fuck you
Yeah, that
and
sucks.
stop.
Yeah,
Stop stealing people's stuff. I'm not the only person who's complaining about the lost polearm.
I hate that.
Lost. It disappeared from my full realms tent. Yeah. And it
That
wasn't anybody in my realm. Like it just
Amgard had a real problem with that for a while. It was like, especially back in the day, it was culturally something that Amgarders did on purpose. It was called ground scoring, and it was just like people would go to events and be like, "I can't wait to score something," and it sucked. It was awful. You couldn't leave your gear literally anywhere at all.
yeah.
You know.
I'm taking I'm never leaving it anywhere that you don't have to break into my tent again.
Oh yeah.
I'm so upset that this has happened to Fest. That's really the only negative thing I have to say about Fest at all is that I had another polearm stolen. So
I almost had I guess this was a negative. I almost had a medical event on Saturday
oh,
because I was
because
because
it's hot.
yeah, and like I don't handle heat well at all, and it was just hot enough that I should have been a little more careful, and like I was pushed myself in the field battle, and then I think somebody wanted to spar me. I was sparring. I should have sat down. I should have got water. And somebody was like, "Hey, you want to do?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." Because I always feel guilty when I say no to people,
Yeah, yeah.
because it's like the warlord thing. It's like I'm like I owe this to everyone to train them.
Take care of yourself.
I should have.
You don't
And
get to fight them if you're dead
yep,
or if you're injured.
yep. And afterwards, I was like, Jake, let's go get something to eat. And he's like, okay. And we're walking. I was like, Jake, I just want to let you know, I'm not doing well. Like, okay, all right. And we're continuing to walk. I was like, Jake, I just want to let you know, I'm really not doing well. Um, because I wanted to prep him like, hey, if I start really freaking out, we need to, we need to go to the hospital. Like I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
right there. And then I downed some water. I drank several like drinks that had sugar in it, and I had some food, and I was like, we're good.
Yeah.
But that was a
Okay.
near miss, and I blame myself 100% for that. It was just me being stupid.
So I don't have the same issue at all. But I did have a similar experience on Saturday where I was like, I think I might be done. Like after, fighting during the day, I don't know if I'm gonna fight at night. Then I'm like, you guys want to like go get Burger King or something?
Yep.
Like, I'll go get an Impossible Whopper. This would be great. So we like do whatever and we go to get Burger King and I'm like, maybe I'll night fight, but I don't know. I'm feeling kind of bad. And I'm like, dragging real hard. We go get Burger King and I eat my burger and I'm like instantly like
Mm.
like ready to go, like completely different person. Like I did not realize how easy it was for me to destroy my blood sugar. Like I'm yeah. I learned
Pickles,
a thing.
yeah.
I was like, I guess I just have to like bring different food
Pickles
like
and
to
Foxy
events.
Rose both had similar experiences apparently.
Yeah.
Um, I think some of it has to do with the fact that we're both really active gym people now. So like our bodies
Yeah.
just need so much more calories to function than we're used to. And if we're not replenishing those calories, our bodies are like, stop. Stop now.
Yeah. I thought that I was like eating enough food though. Like I brought like a lot of snacks, but for
Hmm.
some reason there's something about like real food that was very different.
I wonder if it's the salt or like the protein content, something that you just need,
I
some
don't
kind of
know.
macronutrient.
Cause like I would think that fast food didn't feel that like macro different from other food. I don't know if it was because it was hot food
Yeah, could be.
that helped too or something, but
Ice
yeah.
cream woke up lost stonks.
I
Hell yeah.
I'm you know how people like wear like the heat vests in the
Yeah.
winter? I'm like straight up at Armageddon thinking about getting like a cold vest with like ice packs in it and just like freezing myself and then running around. I don't know if that's gonna hurt.
I had one.
I
I had one, and it was one that was
yeah.
like a legitimately purpose built for this that I bought online, and it had this weird yellow liquid in it that would go from frozen to like slushy instantly, and then stay slushy for significantly longer than water. And so it's like you just put it in these pockets in your vest, and it just cools you down. Cooled me down great. Sucked to wear, hated fighting in it. And like the difference between the vest and just being relatively naked was very, very little, you know,
Interesting.
because I had all this bulk and stuff on me that was
Yeah, yeah.
trapping heat. If I just take
Oh
my
yeah.
clothes off, it was basically the same situation. And then it's like you have to carry around a separate cooler that has the ice packs in it. And then it's like, and you don't want to wear them as soon as you step on the field, so then you're fighting, then you have to step off the field, you have to take off your tunic, you have to put on this vest, you have to tuck the ice packs in, and it's like it was just, I ended up getting rid of the ice packs. I was like, this sucks. It's not worth it, you know.
Yeah, makes sense. I so that was the other thing that I was thinking about is I did wear like
It was Reaver.
um
It was Reaver. Yes, 100%. And I did challenge you. But at that point, I was like, I got to do this, Thank you for reminding me of that.
yeah. I it was wild. I'm like getting pretty close. I'm a couple pounds off of the that I've ever been at this age at least. Um,
Same.
and so I do find that I need to eat a lot more, otherwise I like crash pretty easily.
Nope.
But even then, I was eating like 5,000 calories a day, and I was still like, I don't know. So we'll
Fighting
see.
fighting does it.
I'm just gonna try to find a way to eat more like my normal diet too.
Yeah.
I feel like eating all like even though it was more calorie dense food, like I felt like eating what I was eating, like the like store foods also
Hmm.
made me feel terrible. I felt
Yep.
like I wanted to just like have a rice cooker on site and just be like eating white rice by the cupful. Like that would have been better.
That's not the worst idea.
Yeah.
Especially if I start doing this thing, cuz I've been thinking about it, and I just bought a new pop-up canopy and a table. I've been thinking about doing like a bench HQ, and like so I can have like stuff, like a thing and all that kind of stuff. But keep a rice cooker there and just like show
Yeah.
up, work down some rice.
Yeah. Do I need like I don't know. I if I had power,
Yeah.
I just need like a microwave. Like I can do anything, but I need a microwave or something.
Glenn says ice vests are too cold and your body stops circulating as much blood through your skin, which is a keep you warm response to being out in the cold.
Ah,
Phase change metal salts cooled to a warmer temperature to avoid that response. Makes sense.
okay. Try that.
I
That's kind of what I was worried about, is that if you wore an ice vest, I feel like it sends the wrong signals, or like you'd get too cold in the wrong places. It might not work the right way. Because I like pour water on myself and that helps somewhat, but
yeah.
I also, my garb that I made, I was very heavy linen, and I didn't really
Ooh,
realize that until I was out there, and I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is not gonna work. Like I can only wear the tunic, and even that is still like my coat and my tunic from my other set is less thick than
Jeez.
just the tunic from my new one.
Wild. Um, yeah, ice vests are more of a rescue tool. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Um, Taking your shoes and socks off in between fights helps me a lot
Oh, that makes sense.
because your
I
feet
should
are a
try
heat
that.
sink, you know, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
my feet are apparently a huge heat sink because I'll take my socks off and I'll be like, oh god, you
Yeah,
know.
I have to take my hat off too.
Yep. Yeah. The what was I gonna say? I lost it. Oh, I have these. Have you seen my salts? The hydration salts. Those things are so
Told
good.
me about them.
Yes. So telling the chat and everybody, like, I'm personally not a fan of liquid IV and stuff because they have fake sugars in them, and I can't do fake sugars. But I think that's just a bad call for anybody. You know, those are fake sugars are not good for you. Um,
I drink so much fake sugar.
they're not. I think they're not super good for you. You know, but
It's
um,
fine.
I've
You can eat a lot of fake sugar.
I can't. I can't eat
Oh,
any
I mean, if
in
if it
general.
like disagrees with your stomach,
Yeah.
or like have any digestive problems with it, then like don't do it. There's definitely like a line. I have eaten so much fake sugar that I'm like, this is too much.
Yeah.
Like now my poops are weird. But like, yeah, there's like, I think that I drink a can or two of Coke Zero a day. I actually don't drink any full sugar ever. I only,
Oh,
and then I use the fake sugar syrup. I have like an absurd number of bottles of it that I use in coffee, and then I put that in other drinks too.
makes
But
sense.
that I only use like a tablespoon or two, like when I put it in stuff. Like in my coffee, it's like soy milk, one or like 2 pumps of fake sugar. So
It does suck that I can't have it because I'm on the cut trying to stay between 2,000 2,200 calories, and fake sugars go a long way for that. And also,
that's,
like,
yeah.
every product in outside of, I think, protein powder, every product that has anything to do with working out, they all have fake sugars in them in some capacity.
It's because everybody likes stuff really sweet.
Yep.
Uh, that's one of the reasons. This is really funny, but I like my protein powder because even though they put like coconut sugar in it or
Hmm.
whatever, it just doesn't actually taste sweet at all. It just doesn't taste like anything. It kind of tastes
Love
like
that.
you're drinking grass, but like
Nice.
not like bitter, you
Yeah.
know? And I just, it really grosses me out when it tastes sweet. I'm drinking protein. So that's always weird.
Titanium dioxide, which is what a lot of those products use to give it that white powder color. I can't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that either. Like,
Oh, geez. You would, I'll send you my protein powder. It's
yes,
called
please.
Naked Pea
Done.
because it's the Naked brand. Is they make all sorts of different ones. But that's the thing, is that there's like no real branding on it, so like the packaging is cheap, and then they just don't put that many in them. So
That'd be amazing if I can have that, because I protein powder for me is always like a trade off. I'm always like, am I willing to get sick to hit my macros for the
no,
day?
I really like that. And pea protein has got like the same amount of leucine as like whey and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Although they make a whey one,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm fine with pea
So
protein. Like,
yeah.
whey is fine. What the one that you're supposed to drink, the milk based one that you're supposed to drink overnight? It's not whey. It's
Casein?
yeah. Casein annihilates me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll
I'm
drink.
not
Oof.
I,
And it's
I
gross.
feel like casein doesn't have the same kind of what do you call it?
Effects.
No, I was gonna say like evidence behind it to me
I
is
think you're
like
right.
I've read a
Yeah.
lot of stuff about whey and everything, but
I think the idea behind it is that you don't digest it as easily or something, so you're supposed to drink it. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody explained it. Um, it's you digest it a
just
lot
supposed to
slowly.
digest it slowly.
Yeah, so you drink it at night, and
Oh.
then you have a steady supply of protein all throughout the night, as
Why
opposed to
wouldn't you just eat protein in your food then?
well, like I mean, makes sense too. But how else are they going to sell products? You know,
Yeah, that's exactly it. I only uh
it's fucking gross too.
I
It's
don't
basically sloppy bullshit that won't dissolve into anything other than a wet pudding. It's so gross.
interesting. I don't know. Is that like
It could be
I
fake
don't know.
science, because I've heard
Yeah,
things about that too.
that doesn't track to me, but I'm
Yeah,
not exactly like a nutrition scientist, so
I think my trainer said it was all bullshit too. He's like, ignore that stuff.
yeah.
And the same
I try
this
to eat all of my protein in food, but I drink the protein powder every day because it's like um uh, then I'm just like more sure, especially because I only eat protein from plants, and so it's really easy if you eat a lot of fiber, like I do,
yeah
to like waste a percentage of your calories just like having them get attached to fiber,
yeah
which is good for you, but also it makes it harder to track the exact amount that you're getting in it.
that's tracking the calories is the biggest problem I have with being on the cut too. I don't mind eating, because I'm a good enough cook and I have the privilege of having
Yeah.
the time to cook all my meals. So, um, I don't mind eating it, being on a cut diet. It's the logging each of these things is like the part that I really hate about it. But, I'm down.
Do you, uh, when you're logging it, do you have a scale?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I feel like with the scale, it makes it way easy.
It is. It still sucks because it's like
Yeah, I guess it is work.
I gotta weigh the chicken. Then I gotta weigh it, or not weigh, but then it's like instead of just pouring the oil with my heart, I gotta measure exactly and see
The
tablespoon.
oil with my
I'm Italian, man. I
heart.
cook
It's
with
so good.
emotion.
No, I know what you mean. I have like my way of dealing with that is I have like 4 or 5 sets of
Yeah,
so that even though I'm like using one a day, like washing that one, like after I'm done, it's like dishwasher and then I have another one, so not so bad.
you know
But
the other shit pile about it is that like I'm cooking, and especially I'm working with vegetables and chicken, and it's like my hands are wet, and so I'm trying to log these things in my phone, and my phone is going and like putting all these weird characters out there because it's not tracking my touches correctly.
that's so I just realized that part of why it's easier for me is that I'm never cooking with chicken or like
Yeah.
meat. So I never have to weigh that because when I get like, I have to weigh certain things, but they're still easier to weigh. Like if I do textured vegetable protein, like it's
Mm-hmm.
just like pouring it like cereal into a bowl,
Mm-hmm.
which is super easy. And then like all of the magic is with water.
Makes sense.
And then, um, when you do like tofu, like I don't ever have to type in the tofu stuff anymore because it comes as a block and I make the same recipe. Like the base of the recipe is the same. I make it the same every single
Oh
time.
yeah.
So it's like I can do that with my eyes closed. I
Yep.
shouldn't do the knife part with my eyes closed, but I could. Like um yeah, so it makes it super simple. But
Hell
that's what
yeah.
I mean. Like
Yeah.
I after I got shingles, I learned how to cook a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't cook in the microwave.
Okay.
Um, which I'm sure sounds kind of crazy. But because of that, if I had a microwave at an event and like a cooler that I just kept stocked with ice, I could like eat totally normally at events.
Hell yeah.
Um, and if I had a rice cooker, which you had a microwave, you probably find a
Yeah.
plug for a rice cooker. I could, or even the Instant Pot, perfect. I could eat so much like rice and beans, like that would be
Yeah.
perfect event food.
I'd be all over that. Rice and beans would be great. I'd be
Oh
farting the
yeah.
whole time, but what else is new?
Yeah.
the
That's like the actual vegan superpower is that after I started eating like mostly whole food and only plants, like bowel movement, digestive tract, perfect. Like
Very nice.
no problems ever.
Oh
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah. That's we talked about it a long time ago. I've contemplated going vegan just for the heart health and the gut health.
Yeah, yeah.
Still think about it. But
Don't if anybody ever wants to do this or even just thinks about it, don't try to like I know that people say like whole hog it or
hmm
whatever, but like just like learn to cook something that sounds interesting one thing at a time
yeah.
and then like do that because like when I did it I went vegetarian and then I went vegan
hmm
and so I like learned the recipes and stuff over time um and so as I got better at it it became easier and easier because I knew like a bunch of different things to cook and like kind of what I wanted to do um that makes it so much easier.
You know, God, I really should do it. Just because. Well,
Out here converting people.
well, I mean, the chicken that I eat, because I eat the same meal every day. I eat
Yeah,
chicken, rice, a vegetable, and then I make a sauce out of a little bit of wine. I reduce the wine, and then I put a little cream in it, reduce that too, and that's my sauce. And it's like, I eat this meal twice a day. I've eaten
you
it.
have a blender.
I do have a blender. I have an immersion blender. I
Nice
have a regular.
cream with cashews too. It's so easy. It's so easy.
Um, but like I eat this meal every day. The chicken is my least favorite part. You know,
Oh shit. Well, you extra got
right?
it easy then.
Because I mean, I can cook chicken really well, but in this dish in particular that I make, it's just like I cut the chicken before I cook it, just because it's a lot easier. And it's just like the chicken is like I'm fighting to get the vegetables. Those are the things that taste good with the sauce, and the chicken is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
there. So if I
The
do, if
chicken doesn't actually like taste like anything.
no, especially
Like
chicken breast sucks.
yep,
You know,
the fat of the chicken tastes good, but the actual like
yeah.
chicken doesn't taste good.
Foxy Rose says I brought a rice cooker last year to Fest. How did they go for
Oh
you?
yeah.
Like? How did you? Because like, here's what I'm thinking. You've got to wash your rice, so you've got to have that. You've got to, and I don't know about everybody else, but I season my rice with salt and a little bit of rice wine vinegar. So you got to have
You can
that.
do that.
You got to have that on site, because then
I mean,
otherwise,
those two things don't need a refrigerator, so you're
yeah.
already set. Also, you could bring I I cook brown rice most of the time, and the brown rice that I cook does not need to be washed. So I
Interesting.
just throw it. It's 2 cups
Oh yeah.
of water, like click, 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 done.
Nice.
Like, yeah.
Great. There is a great. Glenn says there's a great vegan cookbook series called How It All Began. I used to use it to cook meals for people that couldn't eat beef, and then add turkey and chicken.
I read that wrong, and then when you said it out loud, I was like, oh, that's such a good pun.
It's pretty good. Did you do any partying at Okfest? We should probably talk about Okfest. That's the whole point, right?
I did. I mean, as much as partying as I do, I could be a, I swear. Um, I my version of partying is I get something that I can lay on the grass, and if I get muddy, I don't care, and then
Mhm.
I just stare at the stars the whole time.
Sounds like a good party,
And
man.
I like talking to people and hanging out, but
Yeah.
I used to drink a lot, and I have that thing that the gene where you don't process alcohol right.
Mm.
Um, so drinking, I used to. Okay, I'll tell a story.
Let's hear it.
Um, I used to drink a lot of events, but drinking just became like when people start complaining about how hangovers suck in their 30s, I got that at 21. So I drank still through that a lot, but
Ooh.
I pretty much stopped drinking after I turned 7. Um, also, as I became more of like a confident full human,
Yeah.
um, I did, or I would drink and then I come out of my shell and be like I am sober now.
Oh yeah.
And then as I continued to drink, I would just become more brazen with everything that I would do. And so I, it's just not good. Like I don't think that I'm not proud of the person that I am when I drink, so I
Fair.
just don't.
I respect
Um,
that, man.
yeah, I didn't have like a couple, but
Mhm.
like I don't get drunk anymore. So and I usually bring like a beer or two to have on
Mhm.
Saturday night after everything, but like I stopped fighting at like 2 o'clock, so I'm not drinking at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and so okay, my first Oktoberfest, I was 19, not supposed to drink, and this is the old days. I
We all know.
whatever,
Yeah.
and the event bought kegs, did not check IDs. Like, obviously, that never happened again, um, because that's insane and nobody should do that. I don't know. Nobody died, thankfully. Um, but I definitely got way too drunk. But at that event, they had a beer, right?
God.
No, it's a skull.
Oh
Pouring it into
God.
fine. And Heath Ledger had died like a week or two before or something, and they were
Jesus.
calling it Heath Ledger. And I remember every single person that they told that to was like, too soon. Like, no, it was actually, I think it was the first one at Kegland, at Stonehouse. I think it
Wild.
was because I never went to an Okfest at Forest Glen, but my first year it was at Forest Glen, and I didn't go that year. I was like, it was like a after I started sword fighting.
Okay.
Um, so yeah,
There was
that was crazy one.
we Taldagor, which is the Amtgard kingdom that I'm geographically located in. We had an event in the olden days when nobody carded, and
Yeah,
some this is why we started carding, is some kid got absolutely shit canned and then jumped in the fire or something like that. Like there was a bonfire and they stepped in
yeah,
it or jumped in it or they fell into it. I think they fell into it
I believe it.
and they got like pretty seriously fucked up
Yeah,
and they were underage and we were like, oh, oh,
can't.
this is bad.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Hell
You
yeah.
got knighted in 2007. I think my first one was 2008.
2008
Um,
was when I got knighted for the first time.
nice. Yeah, that was. They actually had a huge bonfire at that Oktoberfest too. Um, and they lit it by shooting fire arrows, and
That's
it was
cool.
it was really cool.
That's so cool.
So actually, that's something that I wanted to talk about. Is that at this Oktoberfest, I realized, um, yeah, it was very hot.
Oof.
That event is crazy. Um, and something that I realized is that all of my most fun like field battles or just like things that I've ever done in Belgarth all had like a lore thing involved.
That tracks.
Um, so like fighting for evil was fun because we were the bad guys, you
Uh-huh.
know, I wanted to win. Even realm and unit battles are basically like sort of like mini lore battles. Like you're fighting for your group. You want them to win. And like there's stakes. They're not high. Um,
Reaver,
oh yeah,
Reaver says
I
coldest
know.
Okfest of the rest of
I
your
think
life. I
about that a lot.
fucking hate it.
Yeah. Also, Frosttoberfest was the next year, and I, being really stupid, thought that it was going to be as hot as the last one, and so the coldest weather thing that I brought was like a thin sweatshirt, and it frosted
Suck.
over our tents. I actually slept in my car.
We so
Yeah.
I talked about this with because Kenshin went to the Ren Fair with me today, and I was talking
Yeah.
to this about him. I'm like, global warming's a thing. We all know global warming's a thing. We are all obviously feeling the effects of it. Like, it's Okfest and it was fucking hot. Like what? And
Yeah.
Armageddon this year, Saturday,
Crazy hot.
there was nobody was fighting on the field anymore. Saturday fighting field was just basically barren because everybody was exhausted. But like, it's so hot, you can't fight an event during the day all week and then just continue to do it. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
possible. And so here's my thought: is why both Amtgard and Belgarth, why are we as a culture not adjusting our event schedule to account for this thing that we all know is true? You know, it's hotter now.
Yeah. I
Like,
think that people gotta basically it's gotta until it becomes too uncomfortable to change, it's gonna be hard to change that stuff because people aren't gonna want to do it. They're gonna be like, well, we've always done it at this time. Like, I agree with you. Like, or there should just be floodlighting for the whole thing and fights should be at night
mhm.
tolerable. Like,
Glenn says Amtgard does have events all year, and they
yeah.
do, but we're, not really, there's not as many in November and especially December. And January, you don't see as many events.
I think it'll become easier though if it does get hotter to
Yeah.
where it's not freezing
Hmm.
here. Like people will start to have events in December and January.
The other,
But
go ahead.
it does actually still get cold. It just gets cold later and it
Yeah.
gets warm earlier.
Yeah,
Like it still gets to 25 degrees.
it
Right?
does.
Like you can't have an event in January in Illinois.
No.
Like it is very cold.
But you can have one in December.
Yeah. This last year, it
Mhm.
was warm enough to have an event in December.
Absolutely. And it was perfect weather for fighting. But then
Yeah.
in December, there's like, Thanksgiving just happened. Christmas
Yeah.
is coming up, which I know not everybody celebrates that, but like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And
You'd
that,
have to do it in November.
yeah. Because,
But then you're doing it over Winter War.
yep.
I think that's the thing is like the also January has Battle for the Ring. Like
Yeah.
the warm weather places do have events all year,
Hmm.
and nobody's gonna have it in December because everybody's taking their time off in December for Christmas. I know not everybody celebrates, but there's too many people to do it to make that viable.
Crow says we were told to try and move the fighting times last Armageddon to try and have less fighting in the warmest part of the day, but it made the start of the fighting in the hottest part of the day. Wetlands has an event December 6th through 8th. That's
Yeah,
cool.
you could do it like the beginning of December, but even
Yeah.
then, like it's just not gonna ever be as well attended as a June.
I could see Wetlands Amtgard wise being pretty well attended in December because they're in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
So like, that's gonna there's no chance that it's gonna be snowing. It's just not gonna happen. Um Here's the other thing. Wouldn't it be amazing if in July we had like a Thursday through Sunday or whatever event that was indoors the entire time?
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool as
They
heck.
have Chaos Wars in July, but yeah, that's the other thing with Belgarth. There is basically a major event every
Yeah.
month
Yeah.
somewhere in the country. Um, but a full indoor event, that would be cool.
It was 50 degrees once.
Yeah, geez.
Oh my god. I can finally wear my cold weather garb again someday.
Yeah, that's the only thing with the sensory.
Yeah, Dana
Yeah, I was
Dinesh.
just more thinking that
Yeah.
like doing a full indoor event is just hard to do because um like the spaces where you could rent that are
Hmm.
just mega expensive.
Yeah,
Like if you've ever been to like McCormick Center or something in Chicago, like you could even have everybody camp in there,
that'd be cool.
right? Like you could do it. But do you know how much it costs to rent McCormick Center? It's like $1 million. Like can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dinesh says it'd be hard to go indoor for more than one day. That's sensory overload. Imagine the sound of Wolfpack opener for 4 days. Um,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
It would be pretty loud.
There's a ton of neurodiverse people, across these sports. In fact, most people I think are neurodiverse in some way that do boffer fighting. Um, I personally like. I don't do well in big, loud situations, but sword fighting, I'm fine because sword fighting and I'm weird. But that makes sense. I think that's fair. Um, you could
Yeah, it
push.
doesn't really bother me, but I also like as long as it's like sort of rhythmic-y, I can like listen to it forever.
Yeah, I used to call it. So back way back in the day, and maybe Glenn will say something about how Texas is still like this, but back in the day, Amp-Guard events were always like there was ditching the entire time. Whatever was going on, there was also ditching happening, and especially at events in Texas, you'd wake up 4, 5, 6 a.m. There's still people. See, there he goes. Texas is still like this. You'd wake up at like 6 a.m. People are ditching.
That's awesome.
There might be people ditching from the night before, and people have woken up to ditch. It just continues. And I used to call it popcorn because you'd be in your tent and you'd wake up and it just sounds like popcorn fighting.
Pop, pop, pop,
Yeah.
pop, pop.
But it was like, there'd be the lay on, so there's nothing, and then pop, 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 and it'd trail off. Like
Yeah.
you're getting done cooking popcorn,
That's
it would
so
kind of trail off. And so very much I'd wake up to the sound of popcorn, and I was like, okay, let's go fight.
Yeah.
That's way better than the Bell tradition of waking up to hangover puking.
I'm not saying that it didn't happen at Oktoberfest because I definitely heard and or saw it happen, but it was less than it used
Glenn came real with it. He says, actually, I haven't seen ditching go past 3 a.m. in a long time.
Yeah, they turn off the lights at Oktoberfest at 1 now.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. At least on Saturday it went longer because it's like a Saturday, nobody wake up and leave the next day, but I thought stopping at 1 was a good idea.
I think also
Save people from themselves.
Yes. I think, Belgarth does have a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
Amp-Guard, that age range is just steadily going up, Amp-Guard used to be everybody was in their 20s. And then now there's a lot of people that are, it's harder to find younger people in Amp-Guard now. I mean, they're still there, obviously, but it's just that the population is aging. And because the game is shrinking, so there's not as many replacements that are young. And I think that is going to change the dynamic of how late people stay up to ditch too, because fucking old, going to 1 a.m. is hard. That's rough.
Belgarth, the average age has definitely gone up,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't feel like that's because the younger people there's less of them.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like just more older people have stayed over time.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like pretty much everybody would age out. Now there's still an old guard who comes to events and like hangs out and like has fun and still fights. But then like there's also still just as many younger people who are all fighting. And
I think by modern standards, Kanak asks, am I still considered young Amp-Guard at 28, Tanny? By modern standards, yes. I would say that you're still considered young. By traditional standards, like when I was coming up in the early 2000s and stuff, being 28, that was old. Yeah. We were all in our mid 20s. That's what it felt like for a long time. And then I remember being 30 years old and being like, man, look at all these fucking kids. They were all 19, 20, 21, Whoosh, I'll switch to not fighting before I pick up archery. I'm marching at war. It's happening.
Y'all aren't ready for me to turn 50 and start shooting you in the face.
I was actually talking a lot of shit with I'm so bad with names. God, why do I just
that's true. It is kind of crazy how the average age of the person who wins the tournament has just shot up.
Yes.
We were talking the other day about how the sword fighting is like a linear skill progression with age.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people who stick with it they just get better and better and better. It's crazy.
That used to not be the what people said. I remember at one point it was kind of considered common knowledge that if you didn't warlord in your 20s, you're never getting it.
Sorry, young Dane. Younglings are trash. Anakin was right.
Hell yeah.
He didn't say that the younglings were trash. He just killed them.
Oh, okay. I remembered. I was
No, yeah. But you're saying warlords.
Yeah.
If you didn't warlord in your 20s, then you're gonna do it.
Yeah. So that was like the thing was that if you didn't warlord in your 20s, you're not going to get it. That's obviously not true. But that was kind of the common knowledge for like a long time, is that you're just going to age out of being able to do it, and that just is not the case, you know. Um, but the archery thing, I was talking shit with Aisha, because Aisha loves to talk shit, and you
That
know that
was one of my favorite parts of the event.
talking shit with Aisha.
Coming up, hitting you with the flail and be like, fuck you, Tana.
That was hilarious. I'm like, God damn. They also hit me randomly, like we were like getting ready to square up on people, and I don't remember what I said, but it was something along the lines of like, I got your back, or I'm right there, I'm right here with you. And they said, yeah, but you got a tic tac penis. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I had no rejoinder for it. I just was kind of like, I should call dead now. I got fucking nothing. You destroyed me.
Get wrecked.
It was hilarious. But we were talking shit, and I was like, oh, you know, oh, you're going to war, and they were like, yeah, and I was like, fight on my, you know, me and Horus are gonna fuck people up, fight on our team, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna no, because I'm fighting on the other side, I'm gonna shoot you in the face, and I was like, you know, I'm shooting too at war,
Yeah, yeah.
and so they were like, all right, it's fucking on, and I was like, okay, so then I just sent them pictures of like my Paragon Archer from Amtgard, my Paragon Scout from Amtgard, my Battle Master from Amtgard, and I was like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that's what you want, and they were like, I think I fucked up.
No, I would have been like, bring it on.
Yep. I was like, all right, that's fine. And I have
That's
receipts,
funny.
just so you know. I'm
Yeah,
ready.
yeah. Oh, that's too good.
But I'm talking big shit, but I haven't shot a bow in about 2 years, so we'll see how that goes.
There's so many people.
So good. And there's a lot of people.
That's the only thing about getting old. I can tell that I'm old is I can't just like run the whole time
Yeah.
anymore. Like I can like do it, right? Like I do enough activity to do it, but like the will to just like sprint everywhere is not there. I'm like, nah, I'll get there by walking. Like I don't need to chase you. I just yeah.
Some of these, there's we have a friend in the friend group named Lane, who's early 20s, very athletic, like absolutely
Yeah.
just chiseled athlete, you know, super sweet bean, you know, sweetest person ever. And his entire fighting style is just running. That's how he fights you. Is just running in, running out, running in, running out, and it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. It's like I don't even want to keep up with you.
We're running it down.
We're
I don't
running
run
it down.
down mid, I run down the flank.
Yeah.
My favorite game is to play which are you gonna swing outside or are you gonna swing outside left or outside right at me
Hell
when I
yeah.
run at you with my two swords.
Hell yeah.
And it's block hit. Block hit.
Hell yeah.
And you get to play the game with every single person in a row and they always choose wrong. Crazy.
Is there a right choice?
Yes. There is. It's block instead of just hitting me
Hell yeah.
or trying to hit me.
No,
The
Misty.
answer is don't just panic swing
Yes.
is really what it is.
Freedom
I like
Eagle.
when they stab too, and then you're just like,
Yeah.
wrong answer.
Misty, as much as it seems like the solution to stab is to stab Horus, it's not. Horus wants you to stab him, and it doesn't
Yeah.
go well a lot.
It's the most predictable thing you could possibly
Yep.
do, and I'm two sword.
Yep.
I'm not saying that stabbing a two sworder isn't a good idea. It's definitely sucks. But like if you just panic stab, it's very obvious and it's very easy to block.
I dislike going right up through the middle. I dislike it a lot. It always just seems to not pay off in some way.
Or just fighting in the middle?
Like because Dinesh is saying like just fight. We're going right straight up through the middle. I hate doing that.
Yeah, I feel like the middle is like one of those things where you have to like spend time fighting there.
Yeah, and it's
Like you don't.
you're doing community service. Like you're holding the line in the middle. That's not fun. You're doing community service.
Oh no, you can kill them in the middle. It's just you have to be more careful. Like when you're on the flank, you can just run into one guy and make him play the lane game over and over. But yeah, Dane is very very good at making him make choices in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a 2-man, like if you actually both like try to go through this. Okay, this is really, it's not that hard to do, but you both have to be on the same page because you both have to go through the breach at the same time.
Yep.
But if you both like basically end up back to back, kind of trying to
Like here,
go through the same
like that.
gap,
Yeah.
then you can pick a lane
Yeah.
with them at the same time and then fight your way through that.
Hmm.
But you have to do it like at the same time. Because if you go at different times, then you get fucked up and
Yeah.
get killed. But if you go through at the same time, you can actually just walk straight through a line. It's kind of cool.
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
seems like a lot of fun. It's just you got to really trust your battle buddy a lot, because otherwise you're
Yes.
getting backhacked instantly.
So I'll do it with Dane because
Okay.
Dane's crazy. Yeah, Dane is crazy. Absolutely. Like
Oh yeah.
attack a line like a psychopath.
I thought it was Dinesh. I thought he had like an Indian name going
it's
on.
Danish.
Danish. Reaver says Sparks is 34 and runs around the whole time she fights, which is 100% true.
Holy shit.
I thought Sparks was like in her early 20s. That's wild that she's 34.
Wild.
That's super cool.
Man,
Now I want to
apparently
fight.
I just need to train harder.
Apparently. How old are you?
Next year.
How old are you?
Next year. I'm 35.
35.
Which
Four.
I thought would be. I like getting older. Like other people get upset, and every year I get older, I'm just better and like love my life more. But I thought that getting older would be like harder physically, and like really not that bad. It's definitely, you can feel it as you get older,
Yes.
but like it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like I was prepared, like mentally, for it to be worse than it is.
That's fair. It's, I would say 40 to 43 was and
They start dragging on you.
it's a bit of a wall.
Yeah.
I'm noticing like the physiological changes in my body, like I can like when I pose, like I still have a lot of muscles, but I'm starting to get that old man muscle look, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I hate it. I'm like, no, you know, like
Oh.
like where I kind of look like an old time boxer, you know. And I'm
Oh, I
like,
love that shit. I want to look wizened
and
someday.
there's
Maybe one day
definitely
I'll be able to grow a beard too.
there's I changed my beard. I don't know if everybody y'all noticed that, but it used to be and now it's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
it's more
Looks
like
good.
this. That's because that's I tried to grease it down so it was straight up and down. I was like, why don't I just cut it? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is smart.
That's the plan. That's the plan.
You gotta like shape it. Like the shape of things is, like important.
I
That's why like all my garb, actually my newest garb isn't quite like this, but I try to make my garb have like points,
yeah.
like in as many places as possible. I want it to look like sharp.
Oh yeah, that's super cool.
Then I feel like it looks like dangerous. I think it's fun.
Intimidation through garb.
Yeah. I love that this is the Okfest postmortem and we're just like all over the place.
So I think I told you this, but we can tell everybody else. The entire idea for this show in the first place was like, okay, so everybody, you know, I did a post. I think I was like, what's your favorite bench show? And there was a lot of 4s. There were a lot of 6 and 7s. You know, the grind was a big one. The gear one. Everybody loved Peter. Everybody loved what was the other one? The one that everybody loved. But anyway, that was like you know, everybody's favorite show. My favorite show to do, I see, it's true, I see Horus and I just panic Dark Side. My favorite show to do was our first show. That was like
Oh yeah.
our first
For
show.
sure.
And I was like, and because I fucking love what the bench is doing. I love how, you know, people talk about it's given them confidence to fight. I love, like Misty, we talked about you earlier. I love how our co-hosts are getting recognition and all this. But like Misty says, I see Horus and I cover my knees. At the end of the day, I really enjoy having conversations with you. Like it's very fun. And it makes great content. And I was like, I kind of want a show where I just get to talk to Horus the whole time. That's what
I'm
I want to
down.
do, and that was like the plan for this. You know.
I really like event recapping too.
Yes. Yes.
I think it's really fun to talk about events after the fact.
Oh yeah. And that was
Because I
that was
feel like
yeah.
you are like really like in like a different thought space and like it's fun to like um it's almost like talking about it afterwards is like integrating your like event experience because events are sort of like almost like a I don't they're not actually like a psychedelic experience, but like it's got the same sort of like weight
It
to it,
can
you
be.
know, where like you have this catharsis
Yeah.
after an event that you don't have after doing others. There's just not a lot of other stuff in life that you do as often that you have that same kind of thing where you like want to integrate your experiences. And I feel like after events, that's a really good time.
I think it's there's a part of it where you're like you're taking yourself out of your reality that you know, and you're putting yourself in a different reality that you know, because we've been doing this for so long.
Yeah,
And so like every time, every it is a drug. Every time I go to an
yeah,
event, I feel like it's like a time machine, and I'm right back to where I was at the end of the last event. You know, especially when it's the same site, then it's like it's this weird deja vu
yeah.
feeling. You know.
I think that the coolest thing for me at this event that I realized is just every event is that at every event, especially with like Oktoberfest and Armageddon, where people do all these like trials and they do all these like unit trials, but also unit like promotions and stuff, is every Oktoberfest, there's like almost everyone that goes is there and has responsibilities that they're doing for other people. And it's just like this really, really giving community. And like if you go to an event and you make two people's day, right? Like do that every day, you made six people's event, right? Like and like you're just one person and like everyone is doing that. Almost everyone.
Yeah.
And so like that's a really, really cool thing because it's just everyone is sharing with each other in these really cool experiences. Everyone is like seeing each other, like acknowledging each other for their fighting, for their what they make, what they do, just for being who they are. And like that's something that you don't get in life in other ways. Like people
No.
do have, I guess like holidays can be like that, but it's not the same. It's like your family and like things can kind of like have history and resentment and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
like Belgarth just has none of that baggage and it
Mm-hmm.
has way more like intention put behind it into making these fun experiences. Even if you just go there to fight and you just like have a good time fighting and you have a good attitude, like that is the same thing. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
going there and having these great experiences with other people and like that's I really, really love that about this game. I'm forever thankful for finding it.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell other people that like jobs and everywhere I go that like this is the best experience that I've ever found and like most valuable thing I've found in my life because I've learned so much about how to be a human, how to be a leader,
Mm-hmm.
how to do work, all of those things through Belagarth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never had a job where I learned that much. I've never had school where I learned that much. I've never had
100%.
a relationship where I've learned that much. Like it's very cool. It's something very unique.
Um, we did I did a level of thinking about this a little bit ago. I want to read Misty's quote, and then I want to give my response to that. Misty says, "My favorite thing to do at events is to spread authentic love. When you spend your time expressing authentic love, you get to see everyone at their best moments when they feel loved." And I think that's a
Oh yeah.
100% true. Um, I think a big part of it, I'm not going to get political, and I can get really political really fast, but
Yeah, yeah.
a big part of it too is that this is not a transaction centric experience.
Yeah.
Think about when you go to see a sports game. Think about when you go to see a concert. Um, Anything in life now. Just
Yeah.
about fucking anything. Everything is based on moving capital from one location to the other. So like you go to,
Yeah.
that's the purpose of it. So like you go to see a band and you pay money for the tickets, the band's doing the show. They love the music, but they're doing the show to get paid. And they're selling merch and they're selling beer and they're selling this and they're selling that and they're selling this. The goal of Belgarth is not to make, nobody's making, and people are making money, but that's not the goal of the game itself. And as fucking cool as all the merchants and vendors are, as cool as all the food vendors are, we could strip all those away and we still have an incredible experience. And
Yeah.
and that's not to say money or capitalism are evil. I do feel that way, but that's not to say that. That's not the point I'm
Yeah.
making. Um, the point I'm making is that the entire goal of this experience is a human centric experience. And how fucking blessed are we that you see constantly everyone lamenting on social media about modern life is so isolating, and modern life is so closed off, and they have their two or three friends that they are friends with for 10 years, and they just don't meet anyone else, they don't talk to anybody else, they
Yeah.
just don't have any experiences. And every time I hear something like that, I'm like, not me. Like,
Yeah.
I live in this society where I get to have an unlimited amount of friends, and I get to have an incredible amount of experiences, and they're all genuine and authentic.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Absolutely.
I'm not there hitting people with my swords because I paid them to let me hit them with my swords. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not there to, I'm not watching knightings that people are making as generic and vanilla and and boring as possible so that it appeals to everyone. People do weird fucking shit at Belgarth because they don't have to worry about, is this going to sell, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so incredible, is like, it's a human experience. It's a human centric experience, and it's nothing to do with money.
I, and I think that I, even not going into the politics part of it, but that's definitely something that in the real world that can feel the loss of like the third space.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think that that's one of the sad things about like I'm not religious by any means, but you can see like that the decline of religion
Mm-hmm.
that's part of what fell apart is now without that one thing in people's lives that they went to where you were not expected to like pay money to go do it,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a lot of social groups from that, and so that also then when you accepted that
Mm-hmm.
there were some social groups that you went to and you just all shared this belief system and you shared these beliefs and you did it for the community and
Yeah.
that was the point, all that was left is the money,
Yeah.
right? Is these things that you would go to and pay money. And part of that is because you're trying to, basically kick out people that are freeloading or
Yeah.
just are there to cause trouble because they're not paying any money. So they're not, without that buy-in of money, there's nothing to like make sure that everybody's on the same page as to what they're, nobody's going to mess stuff up at a concert or at a baseball game because you pay money to get in.
Yeah.
There's a buy-in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you go to any community, including Bellegarth, there's a
Mm-hmm.
buy-in, right? It's not that you pay $40 to get into the event if you stay there the whole time. That's
Yeah.
like nothing, like,
Yeah.
right? It's not that much money. But it's there's a buy-in in the community. You don't want to get kicked out. You go there to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really like lost in real life. And also I think the other big thing about Bellegarth is that as much as I enjoy social media and stuff, like the phones like fuck with us real bad. Like we're not our brains are not wired to not be like attention destroyed from the phones
Yeah.
and from the computer stuff. And when you go to Belgarth, you can have your phone, but don't just like sit on your phone all the time,
Yeah.
right? Like you only go and talk to people. It
Mm-hmm.
is more what you are like ready to do. Like your brain is more wired for that and like that kind of your attention than what you do at home. And also everybody's there. It's
Mm-hmm.
not isolating to be in
Uh,
Bellegarth. And Bellegarth has this other wonderful thing that is also just like church. I think a lot about how Bellegarth is like replaced religion.
that's
Not
incredible.
as
I've
like a
never thought of it like that, but
yeah,
you're right. Like, you're 100%
absolutely.
right.
We're all for the church of sword fighting,
I
right?
fucking
Like,
do it on
yeah,
Sundays.
yeah. Like show up and fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like you're not spreading your belief system is like, hey, show up and have fun. And um Like it's this totally open experience. Everybody's very open to like meeting everyone. Everybody's trying to put on a good face. Everybody's trying to be nice. Like obviously there are people that aren't always on the same page and everything, but that also has its own way of getting handled. Like it's such a refreshing experience that is missing from modern life.
It
And I
is.
think a lot about like how do you, this is like topic off, but how do you create this for non-sword cultists, right? Like, because sword cultists, we're winning.
We
Like,
are.
we have the third space still that
Hmm.
we make for ourselves, and I don't know how you fix that for everyone else. But like, I'm so happy that I found it because like I don't know what about it.
No
Yeah.
sex. No sex till Warlord. That I don't know.
I what? I mean, sure, but why?
I don't know.
Oh, it's sword monks. I see.
Sword
Okay.
cult, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Once you become a warlord, then uh,
I think Misty's right. Like, that's not our. You know,
whatever.
how do we provide a third space for people outside of sword fighting? We don't. That's not our problem.
Yeah.
We found our
Well,
third space. You know.
I think the other thing about Belgarth too, that Belgarth selects for people that have a certain amount of like are able to like let it go.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be a lot. You know, and everybody's not the same spot, but
Hmm.
can't like not take yourself seriously enough to put on the silly garb and like, because once you get used to it and once you're into it, like you don't question it at all.
Hmm.
But like when you talk about Belgarth to other people and like they don't get
I
it,
don't get it
like
at
they
all.
see you put on the tunics and the all the stuff and they like, what? Like I could never do that. That's so embarrassing. And like so once you do that and then like you're done this for 17 years. You walk out of the gas station, you're in garb, and everybody's staring at you funny, and you're like, "Oh yeah, this is
This
weird
is
to other
weird.
people, right?" I forgot. Like, yeah, but once you're like in that, like because it selects for that, like
Hmm.
everybody's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that's not necessarily true in life. It's
It's
a lot
not.
harder.
It's a lot
Like
harder.
get people not cool,
I was.
but everybody in
Yeah.
Belgarth has to be like,
There's
you have
at
to
least
be
a
this
little
cool
bit. There's at least
way.
something.
Yeah.
My I was married to my ex-wife for 5 years, and even at the end of our marriage, she had never accepted. She had never accepted it. She'd been to events. She said it was weird. She would, when we were having disagreements, she would say, "When are you gonna grow up and stop playing kid games?" You know. Um,
I swear to God, we were married to the same person.
I've been.
We did Belgarth together. That's how we met. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
That's oh, you and your ex-wife met through Belgarth, and she was done with
did
it.
the Renaissance Fair together. Both did Belgarth, and all we ever did was go to Belgarth events together. And then after COVID, she was like, "You're gonna grow up and stop doing Belgarth." And I was like,
Ever?
"Okay." Um,
That
all of
sucks.
our friends do Belgarth,
Yeah.
and this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so people change, and yeah, that was a very when we got divorced, I was like, "Oh yeah, I get to go do this fun thing." And I went to my first Belgarth event afterwards. Went to Oktoberfest actually. It wasn't the first one afterwards, but like my first real like separated Belgarth event I went to at Oktoberfest last year, and I was like, "Oh, I mean, like this is a very good thing." Like I
Yeah.
had already felt that way, but like I went to that and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know why the fuck I would ever stop doing that."
Yeah.
Like even if I couldn't fight like the way that I fight. Like even if I had to
Hmm.
quarter my fighting, like why would I stop going to this place where I see 1,000 people who are all awesome and 150 people that I'm close to? Like people, you were saying like people have 2 to 3 friends.
Yep.
I have 2 to 3 like best friends.
Mhm.
Not even like I have like 100 like friends that I like keep up with regularly.
My Facebook friend list, I think, has eclipsed 3,000 people at this point.
My God.
And to be fair, for
Yeah.
the sake of the show, to be fair, I have, I did Amp Guard for a really long time, and I
Yeah.
have dived headfirst into Belgarth. So There's two pools feeding into that. I mean, there's more than two, but there's two huge pools feeding into that.
I'm not judging you. Like, that's a big
That's
number.
a lot.
That's cool.
And I also friend every possible person I can that does Belgarth or Amtgard, because I kind of want to spread the word of the show too, So, but over 3,000 people, that's insanity,
A lot.
What
That's actually the most I've ever heard of.
It's a lot.
Of like, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are like famous or whatever, but like for a normal person, that's most people I've ever heard.
And I would say, like, outside of people that do Amtgard or Belgarth that I haven't met yet, or maybe I like hit on some random girl and we are Facebook friends now and then we never talk again. Outside of those like kind of outside case scenarios, these are all people I've met, or interacted with. It just the game is big.
Yeah.
I really like
the vast majority of my Facebook friends are Belgarth people.
Hell yeah. I really like. I'm gonna tell a story about the Facebook thing in a second, but I like Whoosh's story, so I want to mention it before it gets cold.
Yeah.
Whoosh says a large chunk of the Dunblin people all went to high school together, so every event it's a high school reunion. Instead of starting a band, they started a realm. That's really cool. Like, that's incredible.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah. So there was a thing that happened in Indiana, I think last year or the year before, because you go to an event and you just get all these friend requests, and you look and you check your mutuals and you're like, yeah, Bell people, yes, right?
Yeah.
Which I know not everybody does that. Some people are very selective because there's safety issues attached to that. But as I have the privilege of not having a fear of that safety, so I always just say yes if it's a big mutual friends. Yes. There was a dude that was friends with I don't remember how it started, but they there was like 100 something mutual friends, and so what had happened was they had friended a few people that through legitimate reasons, and then just started like friend requests started rolling in both ways, and everybody saw all these mutual Belgarth friends and said yes. And so this person had hundreds of mutual friends, had never been to a Bell or Amtgard game in their life, didn't know anything about it. And people started asking questions like, hey, I don't remember his name. It was like, hey, do you know Dan? And I was like, no, I saw all the mutuals and I said yes. And so we all started talking about it. And of course it was me. I reached out to the guy. I was like, do you play? And he's like, play what? And I'm like, and I figured out this story and I'm like, this is fucking crazy.
So wait. So everybody friended him. He just friended everyone.
Yeah.
And didn't know about Belgarth.
No.
But did you get him to come to Belgarth?
No.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah. That would have been super cool. But like,
that would have been great. Like if Dan turns out to be really cool, like he does Belgarth because everybody friended him.
I don't think he was cool. I think he started posting some weird shit, which was why the question. Yeah, why the question came up.
Everybody's like, "What's wrong with this guy?"
Yeah, it's like, how do you know him? It was one of those like, how do you know him? And we all started investigating, and it was just like, we figured it out. This is what happened. It was just the friend chain happened. That person is the center of the LARPverse. They're patient zero. Damn. Well, we almost blew an hour past our 1 hour objective.
Oh my god.
We're almost at 2 hours.
I actually thought it was 2 hours long.
I did that. I was like, well, there's no way we'll fill 2 hours, and like, here we are, and our viewer count has only gone up. We haven't lost everybody yet. Hell yeah. I would say this.
Yeah, this is fun.
For everybody who is here now, when we first started the stream, it was just Pickles.
Yeah.
Our chat room was Pickles. And, I love Pickles. I'll do a show just for Pickles. That's fine with me. Both of you independently are capable of talking forever. Yes, 100% true. But I think it's super cool that everybody showed up for this. And when I first started, when I hit stream, I was like, this is going to flop. We're done. Like, this is going to be our one and only show. This was good.
Yeah, this is fun.
Next week, shit, I got so many things I'm supposed to be doing. Guess what? We got shirts. The shirts, unlike the shorts, which the pre-order for shorts are ending in 2 days. The shorts $45. It's the best I can do because they're expensive to make, and I got to ship them
Yeah.
out myself. These shirts are less than $16, and
Sweet.
like I'm getting a little money off of that. I don't have a job, so I have to. Sorry, but they're made very inexpensively. You order. This is not a pre-order either. You just hit buy, and they send them to you.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I've been looking for a thing that'll do that'll just do merch on demand, and I found it.
Yeah.
So we got shirts.
I'm surprised there's not as much demand for like short shorts as there are shirts. You'd think.
Everybody was telling me that they wanted shorts, and the pre-order count is very, very low.
Yeah.
Could be because they're expensive.
Sure.
Some people. The reason I wanted to prioritize shirts was because there were several people who were just bigger in stature, and they were like, "I'm not wearing shorts." Sorry.
Yeah.
So like
That's fair.
I wanted to make sure to have shirts for everybody. So I'll post the link for the shirts. And then maybe we'll do some contest at some point if you're wearing
My neighbors are gonna die when I'm wearing those short shorts around. Although it's gonna be too cold soon. They're gonna laugh. Everybody I meet already asks me, "Are you the guy that runs with his dog?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. I have the dog, and I literally just stopped running like 2 seconds ago to talk to you." Like,
my neighbors are very used to me wearing shorts. I live in an incredibly conservative area, and there's a lot of and this show is apolitical. I'm not making any judgments on anything. But my neighbors are very used to, at this point, just seeing me wearing a dress. Like dressing femme for some kind of event where and they're just kind of like, okay. Like and they still say hi. They're still super cool with it. Shorts not a problem for my neighbors at this point. They've been conditioned.
yeah. My neighbors always like, they don't give me a funny look when I wear garb out. They're just like, "What? What's happening?" When they ask me why I'm wearing martial arts clothing. I'm impressed that they even think it's martial arts clothing. Like how do you know I'm gonna go?
I got asked today because I wore garb to the Ren Fair. I got asked today. The two ladies at the gas station, they said, "Oh no, I forgot it. It was so funny." One of them thought I was pretending to be Little John from Robin Hood.
Oh yeah.
And the other was significantly more obscure. It was like,
whoa.
I don't remember. Damn it. Well, fuck that joke. It was really funny. It was hilarious. I was like, what? I'm wearing medieval clothes and you got that? But
yeah,
joke's ruined. I forgot it.
Yeah, I did have another person think I was going into an anime convention. I was like,
that makes sense.
I dig it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Reaver says, I need a shirt that says "Spar me, I'm shy" on the back.
Yeah, I like that.
Goblin Storytime, still a thing. Cord took the last 2 weeks off, so Goblin Storytime every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central. If wax aren't your thing, and you're just supporting the bench, to support the community, Goblin Storytime might be. It's very much Cord is in character the whole time, and he's telling stories from a goblin point of view. Super cool. It's got a great response. When I show up, I see a lot of people that aren't normal watchers of the bench. They're more on the role player craft side of things. So, super cool. So that's it. This week, I didn't even look to see what we're doing on the actual bench this week.
Yeah, what are we doing? Because I don't.
Let's figure that out.
Maybe you told. I feel like there was like one day where you gave me a list.
Oh yeah.
Stuff we were doing for a couple weeks, but I forgot what this week is.
This week is up and coming. What it is to be an up and coming fighter as opposed to an established one. We have and like their experiences as somebody that's been in for a few years and these are both people that have aspirations to, I think both of them have aspirations to be warlords. But they're primarily bell fighters too. We have San, and we have Mad Laddie, otherwise known as Maddie, Spicy's partner. So we have two.
Sweet.
We have two up and coming fighters, both women also, which is super cool. and they're gonna relate their experiences about being up and coming, and we're gonna talk about that. And I'm gonna come up with an agenda where we can give advice to up and coming fighters. And I want
Oh
to
yeah.
I want to differentiate it from the grind episode so that it's more about, hey, I'm pretty new. What do I do? What do I focus on?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
those kind of things. So that's what's coming up, and that's all I got. So, see everybody Thursday. Thank you for watching Recap. If you liked it, you know, agenda. Tanny doesn't even have agenda. Oh yeah. I'll catch everybody on Thursday. Peace.
You called me up one night, I guess you had a fight. I asked what's wrong, you said he's gone, and you want me to make things right. I hope you know it's gonna end tonight. I always do my best to fix this little mess, but all you go into is bounce back and forth, back and forth. This is my life. You wasted my time. Side to side. You wasted my time. Now it's another day. You know I'm on my way. What I don't know, it's more than me and you. I come on in and have a seat. How in the hell did he get a key? I always do my best to fix this little mess, but all you go into is bounce back and forth, back and forth. This is my life. You wasted my time. Side to side. You wasted my time. Stop playing these stupid games, 'cause nobody's gonna win. You need to decide if you wanna stay with You're wasting my time. This is my life. You wasted my time. Side to side. You wasted my time.